Disney's Moana 2 has been plagued with issues ever since the announcement by Bob Iger in February of 2024 that the Disney Plus series, originally serving as the follow-up to 2016's Moana, was to be adapted into a feature-length film and was to be released theatrically in November of that same year. And even though, quality issues aside, it is widely considered a box office success by both the mainstream press and the studio, the problematic feature has encountered yet another issue. This time, a lawsuit claiming copyright infringement, and the damages sought? $10 billion. We'll break it all down and discuss its chances of success or failure here on That Park Place. Culture, I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on all this, because this one might be a little controversial. Here we go. Disney faces $10 billion lawsuit over claims they stole Moana from copyrighted script. But are they likely to lose? January 13, 2025 by WW Pro. Here we go, folks. The Walt Disney Company is facing a $10 billion lawsuit over claims that they stole large parts of Moana and Moana 2 from another writer. But how likely is it that Disney will either lose or settle the case? Animator Buck Woodall has filed a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against Disney, alleging that the Moana franchise, including the recent Moana 2, released in November 2024, was derived from his screenplay Bucky the Wave Warrior without his consent. Woodall claims that former Mandeville Films development director Jenny Marchik secretly provided his confidential materials to Disney, leading to the creation of the films. He points to numerous similarities between his work in the Moana films, such as Polynesian themes, animal guides, and specific plot details. However, in the entertainment industry, it's relatively rare for studios like Disney to lose copyright infringement lawsuits. And here's the thing, I want to go ahead and stop right here. These cases are notoriously difficult to actually win, but this one in particular, $10 billion? I don't know, culture. I mean, is a little bit too much of a stretch.
Yeah, but look, all you have to do to pursue a suit like this is to be able to show damage. Damage would be in a monetary sense, what they're getting out of Moana. Moana earnings are not over $10 billion, but again, in copyright law, you are required to express something. Ideas are not copyrightable. You have to actually express them, which means put them out in the world, either via recording, like what we do, video recording, or music, same thing, or again on paper, right, in a script, in a well-written apparently script, in well written well enough that it looks like, based on everything presented, that this is a viable suit. Proving damage, we already see damages. You missed out on a ton of revenue. But the other thing is that you cannot copyright themes. People can base screenplays, television shows, books, whatever, songs, off of a theme. You can't copyright the theme. So that's where they're going to have to muddle through. But if this thing walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's duck, then that's up for a court to decide. And it looks like that finally this particular author will get their due, because the first time they brought this suit, it was beyond quote unquote date. The second time around, and that's probably later in the article. But I'm on the same path as Ron. Disney's never lost these kinds of suits before. But this one, I don't know, maybe, not to mention the fact they have a history. And if he's got proof that he engaged with an executive that was in a position to make this go, which again, the larger story, I believe, talks about, then maybe this is more than viable. Maybe this is something Disney would look to settle just to get it out of the way forever, because they have borrowed people's ideas before. I mean,
sure.
If it's in the public domain, it's a different argument. This is not. This guy wrote something, presented it to his boss, who at the time was doing, they were doing production for Disney, and various other things, other projects with them. This is one of those situations that could bite him in the butt.
That's a fair point. And there have been instances in which these lawsuits have been successful, specifically against the Mouse House. We'll get into that in just a moment. But we have some breaking news right here. Mexican Iron Man breaking: culture to pay for a lawsuit as part of purchases of Disney. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not.
Look, if I had the wherewithal, I would definitely purchase Disney. It would be so easy to fix. It would be so easy. Seriously. First, day one, get rid of HR. Day two, get rid of all corrupted leadership, and
Yep.
hire people who are interested in working for a family company again. I probably will have lost most of the creative talent that Disney has ever had, especially in the last 8 years. They've lost so much talent to others because of their political leanings. But maybe a turn in the turn in the rudder would bring some of that talent back. Hard to say.
Take those big what is it, movie budgets they have attached to all these films that they're paying out up the nose, and you apply that to maybe some veteran talent, get them to come back and say, hey, let's create some really good content, maybe for a cheaper price. And there you go. It's not a bad strategy there, Culture. I like that. These companies typically have substantial legal resources and implement rigorous processes to ensure originality and compliance with copyright laws. This is the upward climb for this lawsuit here. For instance, in 2020, Disney successfully defended against a copyright infringement claim regarding its film Inside Out, with the court finding no substantial similarity between Disney's work and the plaintiffs. In an episode of Renegade Online, attorney Ron Coleman and entertainment analyst Tom Connors could not think of a single instance in which a major studio, such as Disney, had lost in one of these sorts of cases during the modern Hollywood era to the extent that this Moana case would demand. However, there have been minor exceptions. In 2022, Disney settled a 5-year litigation concerning the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Plaintiffs alleged that Disney had infringed upon their screenplay, and after the court denied Disney's motion for summary judgment, the case was settled confidentially. There you go. There's your kind of precedent or predicate for something like this. The outcome of Woodall's lawsuit remains uncertain. While entertainment companies almost always prevail in such cases, the specific facts and evidence presented will be crucial in determining the result. It's worth noting, and this is what Culture said before, that Woodall's previous attempt to sue over the original 2016 Moana film was dismissed due to timing issues. I love this, by the way. Courts will tell you, hey, you can't sue too early. It's not right. And then they'll tell you, hey, you can't sue while this is happening. You have no standing. And then when you wait, you can't sue now. It's not moot. It is moot. I love the whole butter zone that you have to sue over these things. At least sometimes anyway.
Yeah.
But the sequel's release has provided a new opportunity for legal action. At the same time, Woodall's specific claims include problems of Disney having created a demigod character who has tattoos and uses a giant hook. That would seem to be a hard sell, since Maui is a public domain religious figure in Polynesian mythos who has tattoos and a giant hook. It would seem to the layperson author that Woodall will need more of a hook than just one that Maui uses. Last thoughts on this, Culture?
Well, I mean, there's so many similarities, between his version and Disney's, that I don't know how they skate out of this, but they opened themselves up to this, because the only reason this didn't proceed forward before was because of timing. In this situation, they made a sequel, so so it's still based on his material, and it's not going to be a time issue this time around. So I'm very interested in what comes of this. I'm almost certain that if Disney feels in it anyway, like this could come back and bite them, especially to the tune of billions of dollars. I'm not sure that's reasonable, but if they got the 10 billion is so that you get 1 billion, right? That's oftentimes when you're looking for a settlement.
Right.
You're looking for about 10% of your ask. Could Disney settle? Sure. Could they do it for $1 billion? No, but they might be able to do it for 50 million, 100 million. It's hard to say. And go ahead.
Well, I will say, if the lawsuit was like, I don't know, a few $100 million, I think you have a judge that looks at that and goes, okay, that's reasonable. $10 million, we're going to have to walk that back. Sometimes judges, they get a little leery about that. It's like, is this really something that really demands my effort and time? So I think that's something. Go ahead, Culture.
Well, being denied satisfaction the first time around probably didn't help. And since it's going to be such a franchise, I mean, and that's, again, Disney's mistake for making a sequel, except they, obviously they're going to clear $1 billion, not clear. They're going to have box office receipts of $1 billion for Moana 2, despite the fact that it's a silly, inconsistent film. But again, silly, inconsistent films make money. like I said, it's proven itself to be a quote unquote franchise, which is a problem for Disney because it will gain future revenue. This suit is going to show up every single time. So get it out of the way so you're not dealing with this again, because this guy's going to keep coming.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Maybe you start those negotiations now before you release Moana 3. Just saying. It's going to be interesting to see if this one gets dismissed. We'll obviously cover it, but if it doesn't, and if it actually moves on,
no follow.
We'll definitely cover it here on That Park Plays. For all the news, that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.